All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Alana G, and I'm so excited just to start this call with a beautiful breath that I use here at home with my daughter. I use it with all the women that I get to support. It's such a beautiful grounding breath, and I think it's a really great place to start when coming together on such a beautiful call that we're about to host. So I would love to just get everyone, if you're feeling comfortable, to close down your eyes. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And on that deep breath, we're just envisioning the fresh, clean, loving air, the new air coming into our body, expanding our breath, expanding our belly, and filling our body. And as we reach the top, we're just going to hold here and for a moment, just witness any noise, any sound, any tension in the body, and then just releasing and letting go. And as we reach the bottom, just being aware of our vibration, our field, where we're at right now. Hey, darling, can you slide for a moment? And I'm going to continue this breath for another 2 breaths. But as we take a deep breath in, just remembering we're filling our belly with free, clean, fresh, loving energy. And at the top, we're releasing the noise, the sound outside of our body, and really being present with ourselves. So noticing where our energy is taking, any distractions, any tension in the body. And as we release, just letting that go. And again, we're holding the breath at the bottom, just witnessing the vibrational shifts, how we're feeling, what's shifting and changing in our breath, in our body. And on the last breath, I just want you to be intentional with this breath and actually set an intention of how you want to feel, how you feel to be, something you desire. And as you breathe that in, just remember we're filling up the body with this intention and this desire. And as we reach the top, we're allowing that to infuse our body, infuse our moments right here, right now. And as we exhale, we're allowing that to ground in all the way down through every cell in our body. And now we're going to blink our eyes open, knowing that we are now in this new moment. So I'd love for you to drop in the chat. How are you feeling? What shifted for you? So it just feels juicy, doesn't it? Oh, so beautiful. And this breath is actually called the box breath. It's something that is world renowned for being used across not only NeuroSparkly families, but even in the military. Like, this is a really powerful breath that gets to be used to really help bring you back to the present moment and really be able to be available for what's going to be on offer for you. So I'm so excited because Jo is going to jump on out and she's going to start this call. Thank you for joining me through breath, and I love hearing in the reflections that you enjoyed that breath, and I look forward to seeing you soon later in the masterclass.
Hello, welcome everyone. And that was really, really beautiful, Alana. That was just something that I just really needed after, a hectic morning with my little son. He's just not really enjoying school at the moment. So that just really brought me back to what I'm here today for. And this is why I do this, because we get to do this type of work around the needs of our children. And so today we're talking about something that many neurodivergent families quietly struggle with. And I know my family did before I was introduced to this type of model. And like, how do we create income without burning out without burning out our nervous systems and sacrificing the needs of our children? Many of us are trying to figure out how to build a life inside systems that really don't work for NeuroSparkly families. there's rigid hours, and just environments that are just not suited to our brains, like our beautiful brains. And that constant pressure, and, really feeling like an alien in the room. I don't know about you, but every job that I've been in, I just really felt like that I didn't belong. And I just kind of felt very different, and my brain worked very differently. So when our nervous systems are fried, like it becomes really incredibly hard to hold, not only hold ourselves, but hold our family and hold it all together. Especially for mums. We hold, the emotional energy of our household. We hold the schedules, the regulation, the support. We hold a lot. So today we're exploring something different that works around our family's needs. So, what happens when families build income in a way that actually supports a calmer, more regulated home? That's what we call the calm and connected income pathway for NeuroSparkly families. It's a flexible model designed to work around your family's needs, not against them. And because when we restore our energy, we can rebuild our homes. And from that place, we can really rise into a life that holds our families. So I just want to take a little moment and just share a little bit about my story, because I didn't arrive here at this moment right now calm and aligned. There were mornings where we couldn't even get out of the door. My son Leo would be in full meltdown, and I was watching my clock. I could feel the pressure rising in my body, but one part of me wanted to cuddle him and nurture him, and the other part was like, I am late again. I am going to miss the train. I'm going to get in trouble again at work for being late. And I just didn't have control over it. Well, I thought I didn't have control over it. And it was 2020. And I remember it really vividly. I had a million things to do. It was the lead up to Christmas, and I was in a work meeting, and we were planning for the new year. And there was a real divide in the design team, because my background's interior and lighting design, and my manager had previously bullied me, and I was experiencing anxiety at the time. My manager was discussing the new plan for the year, which didn't include my sector. And I was up the night before. I had like 2 hours sleep, and I had got a coffee in the morning, and I was like sitting there, and my hands started to shake. And as she was talking, I was just feeling like this wave come over me, and I just felt sick. And then I just was breathing really heavily. And a colleague looked at me, and she knew something was up, and I had to leave the room. And then I had a full-blown anxiety attack, like in front of my whole team. I was hysterically crying. It was, one of those moments that I never want to revisit in my life again. The ambulance came, and I had to go home. The heaviness that I felt that afternoon when I was on my couch, my chest it felt like it was caved in, and I was lying there, and my hubby was also busy with his work, and he couldn't come home to support me because he had emergencies. He works in the health sector. He couldn't go and collect my kids from childcare or after school care, and I just kind of felt helpless. And I was just thinking about how, like, this is not worth it. It's not worth being me getting to this point in my life, not being able to be connected with my family. And I hated the job. I was broken, and I felt disconnected from everything. That moment really, really broke me, and the doctors prescribed 6 weeks off work, and I was emotionally burnt out. My nervous system blew out. I had never really dealt with a childhood trauma before, and that surfaced in a recent therapy session, and it was a lot. And the thing that was falling apart was my relationships, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my kids, not having the time to be there for them. And to top it off, I had health issues. I had no sick leave left, and I had chest infections. And for a long time, I thought I was the problem. I thought I needed to be disciplined. I thought I needed to be more resilient or less sensitive, but eventually I realized something different. The problem wasn't my ambition, it was the structure I was trying to succeed inside. I didn't need more hustle. I didn't need another new job. I needed flexibility. I needed a model that could flex around my real life and my family. So I needed an alternative income pathway, something that was flexible, something that was remote, that built around my child's needs. Yeah, so if you stay around to the end, we'll be sharing around an income model that really changed the trajectory of my life and how we build it around our neurodivergent family life needs. And also we will be gifting you a free gift to really help you begin. And this was gifted to me in the beginning, and it really helped me. It set me up for success, and it's something that can really ground the nervous system. So how is this different? The first thing that springs to mind is I realized I hit the jackpot with a positive, supportive community. And there's one part of this model that makes it uniquely suited for neurodivergent families. And when you see it, everything will click. I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, two massive shifts are happening right now. So the first that springs to mind, so the first is like there's twin revolutions that are happening right now and reshaping how families earn and heal, and they both nourish the nervous system. So the first one is the income versus work revolution. So families are moving away from location-based jobs and rigid hours. It's, like the move from location bound and trading time for money. Like, time is our most precious commodity, guys. And yet most jobs take that away from us, and we're like living for weekends, and you speak to everyone and they're just like, I can't wait for the weekend, or they get that sick feeling of Sunday night, Monday's here around. But it's our time, guys, it's ours, and we never ever get that time back. And when we lose these moments with our children, it's gone. It's actually gone forever. Parents are creating income models that work around their children, not the other way around. So number two is the rise of the health sovereignty and decentralized wellness. Families are questioning what we consume and how we support our nervous systems, how we create resilient and well-resourced homes. NeuroSparkly families are often the early adopters in this shift. So here are the two revolutions happening right now. One is how we earn, and one is how we protect our families' health. Most people will watch them pass, but a few will position themselves early. So if you stay until the end, you'll understand exactly what it would take to create results you're looking for your family. So this is not what you think it is. This is not a 9-to-5 job that pulls you away from your child. You're not going to be pitching to your aunt at Christmas, or you're not going to be stocking inventory, and you're definitely not going to be chasing low ticket volume. And something that requires, and it's not something that requires predictable daily capacity. For a lot of us, we just don't have the capacity emotionally, as we hold a lot for our children. So what this actually is this is for families who don't fit the system. So we build outside of it. And even that is something that's just revolutionary, building outside the system that is that is broken for a lot of NeuroSparkly families. So this is a leveraged income model. And there's one structural reason this model works when others fail for neurodivergent families, and it has nothing to do with motivation, personality, or how extroverted you are. I'll break that down for you shortly. What you are positioning yourself in is a leveraged infrastructure model, which is aligned to one of the largest shifts in health and income happening globally. This is built around a wellness technology. It's built around water technology. It's a sustainable income with minus the burnout. This is designed for a low stimulation work, systems that can tap into systems that you can tap into and not wear. You don't have to wear all the hats. It frees up your time to be with your children. And this is my favorite bit. This is built inside a supportive community of women doing it together. It's a supportive community supporting families, because we can feel really alone, especially for highly sensitive children and highly stressful environments that we sometimes find ourselves in raising neurodivergent kids. So who is this for? This is for you if your home can feel like sensory overload. By 9 a.m. your nervous system is already fried. Your child struggles with school or anxiety or just being regulated. This is for you if traditional work hours don't fit your family needs and you want to have income that works around your child. This can feel like a lot. As mums, we typically hold it all together and throw NeuroSparkly into the mix, and nervous systems can become quickly dysregulated. So this is for you if you're ready to look at solutions, not problems. And this is not for you if you are looking for instant results without any growth. You're wanting something passive from day one. You're unwilling to have real conversations with real people. If you recognized, and this isn't for you if you want change without taking action or responsibility. If you recognize yourself in this second list, there's truly no judgment. This may not be your season, and that's okay. But if you saw yourself in the first list and you choose to stay with us beyond this point, you're making a quiet decision. You're deciding that you're someone who is here to problem solve, even when it looks different. And I'm going to speak to you and the women from here on in. So how many of you are here today that are concerned that maybe perhaps we're going to sell you something? And I've got good news for you. There's definitely an opportunity to buy something at the end of this presentation, but let's set that aside for now. This is not about that. It's the fact that I don't want you to buy anything unless you get value out of this presentation today. I only want, I only would ask you to take a look at the next step if you really gain value from what we're sharing here today, because this is something that can really set you free and be able to have the connection that you desire with your children and with your family that you are aching for. So does that sound fair? Type a 1 in the chat if you think that's fair. Okay, I'm seeing some 1s. Amazing. Let's move forward. And I would love to introduce the beautiful Medea. She is a single working mum and she has a beautiful little daughter, and we met in this business, and such a beautiful soul. And over to you, lovely.
Thank you so much, Joe and Alana, for starting us off here today. It's so lovely to be here. I will just reintroduce myself. So my name's Medea, and I was a single mum for about 8 years. My daughter just turned 11 2 weeks ago, and she turned 11 just as we shifted out of some of the systems and structures that Joe was just talking about. And the reason we made this shift was because of her and because of my highest value of freedom. So I want to share a little bit about my story before I kind of go into a little bit of information around this online income that Joe was talking about before. So I actually, as I said, I've just quit my 15-year teaching job. I actually really, really loved my job because I was in a non-mainstream alternative education system. And that is the only reason I stayed in education, was because it was non-mainstream. All of our young people were able to turn up as themselves every day, fully present to be who they are, honoured in their neurodiversity, because about 70% of our population at the school was neurodiverse. And I loved it so much. But the challenge was that it actually impacted my daughter in such a negative way. So even though I was turning up every day in a job that I loved, the impact it had on my daughter, having to encourage her to go to school, or some days it was push her to go to school because I had to go to work to make an income for our family. It actually had such a negative effect. So my daughter has autism with a profile of pathological demand avoidance, which is an anxiety-based disability. And the challenge with PDA is that the compound effect of being in environments such as the mainstream school system over the years impact the nervous system so greatly it leads to burnout. Now, luckily, thanks to this online business because I stepped into this space a few years ago, I was able to firstly pull out of before and after school care, and then I was able to reduce my days to 3 days a week. So I kept trying to make these small changes to support my daughter in having less environmental pressure that was impacting her nervous system. But I realized that as she grew older, the schooling environment expected more of her, and the mainstream system, and just I worked out one day the demands on her nervous system, even before she walks out the door to go to school, was big things just by getting dressed, and the anxiety of having to go to school and be within an environment that restricted her nervous system and took away her autonomy, which is super crucial for PDA nervous systems. She just continued to get worse, no matter how many services we got in place, no matter how much support we got in place, no matter how much I reduced it. It prevented her from going into paralysis burnout that I hear a lot of PDA children experience, where their bodies just stop working and they can't leave their rooms, they can't leave their beds, they can't leave their house. And just before I made the decision to fully quit instead of take long service leave, um, I could see my daughter kind of getting into that place. And there was a 1 week that I just sat with the decision to quit altogether, because it's a job I love. And I probably will get quite emotional in this moment, because this this life decision that we made, and I made for my daughter. I said to my workplace when I left, I said, I'm leaving a job I love for a person that I love more, and that's my daughter. And I needed to make that decision probably sooner than I expected, because I have this online income that's been behind the scenes enabling me to slow down in that workplace and in the structure that required me to turn up every single day. And while I loved supporting those young people, I didn't want to continue to do it at the detriment of my own daughter. It was just completely unsustainable, and it was making me move to the point of burnout. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story. Thanks, Joe. I'll share a bit more of my story as I share a bit more through through few slides. Um, so thank you. So why I know Joe touched on this, and I want to touch on this a little bit as well, because I've ever since I kind of moved out of high school and into the adult work life, I just had this deep inner knowing that I wanted really to have a balanced and nourished life. And I learned a lot from my parents that time is just not, it's one of our most precious things, our time and our energy. It's non-renewable. And I really wanted us to feel fully resourced to have a balanced and nourished life. And I realized before I made this shift that we just weren't having the time for all the things that nourish us, and all our time was going to the energy of trying to stay in this system that just wasn't designed for our family. And so I'm a really passionate about stepping into my truth, and I'm really passionate about role modeling that to my daughter. And yet I found myself in this cycle that, yes, I love my job, but I knew I'd kind of outgrown that, and I really wanted to take back our time and have the flexibility and the freedom to just be completely present for her, bring her out of burnout. And I just want to share quickly here that in the first 6 days of us being out of that system, like we moved out of the suburbs and we moved completely off grid. It aligned perfectly to support my parents, my elderly parents, at the same time because my dad's got Parkinson's. And just within the first 6 days, I could see her confidence growing, her capacity growing, her social capacity and interactions increased. And that is because when we put health and well-being at the center of everything we do, and our energy and our time are cocooning around that, it really, really shifts how we get to show up. And especially for neurodivergent people, it when our nervous systems are constantly up against the overstimulation of society and the external pressures, it really impacts the quality of life. And so quality of life is something that I yeah, really, really wanted to show my daughter a different way, because for such a long time over the years it's just been slowly diminishing, and it was really heartbreaking. And I'm so, so grateful that even just this short distance into this new season where I'm just fully using my online business and I'm not having to go to a job every day is just making such a positive impact on the capacity my daughter is holding. And it's so, so exciting because her capacity, I didn't realize that it was probably like a year or two since her capacity was this high. And that's because of the compound effect of the environments that we were keeping ourselves in, because I continued to think I needed to turn up to a job every day. And so even though I'm let go of a job that I love, I'm so grateful that I've made this choice, because I want us to have the time and energy and health to feel supported. Thanks, Joe. We'll jump into the next slide. So yeah, I want to really just touch on this, and I'd love for you to take a screenshot of this to come back and maybe do some self-reflection on this a little bit later, because these kind of things are really, really important. Um, our self-expression freedom, our physical freedom, our location freedom, our time freedom, and our wealth freedom. I'd love for you to take a moment later on, whether it's today or in the next few days, to just sit down and reflect in your own personal life. How free do you feel in each of these areas? Do you feel like you can fully be yourself? Because in this space, you get to grow more into your most aligned, authentic self. And it's so exciting to become the version that we came here to be, rather than the restricted, limited version that the mainstream system keeps us in. So yeah, take a screenshot of this page. I encourage you to come back and reflect on that a little bit later and work out where you're sitting, because the blueprint that you're currently living right now is the blueprint that you're modeling to your children. And if you're wanting, for me, I personally want my daughter to have the most free, authentic life. And because of her PDA nervous system is built on autonomy, I want her to have the most amount of freedom. And so I have lots of conversations with people online who don't understand PDA, and their question is, how is she going to get a job? And my response is, I'm not raising her to have a job. I'm raising her to live her soul mission, her truth, her passions, her interests. And she's getting to do that because she knows that I'm doing this business, and she's a quite active part in helping me create content, and she's invested in the freedom that she gets to experience because of this online income and because of the model I'm creating for her. Um, and I know Joe's touched on these a little bit before earlier, but yeah, some of the challenges that we face in the kind of traditional way of living is that the income, even though it's a stable income, often it doesn't quite stretch far enough, and especially when you've got neurodiverse families and you have different additional appointments and services you want to be accessing for them, whether you have NDIS or not, it always helps to have additional income to support you to get the services you need for yourself, and for your family. It also, you know it pushes you into having the rushed mornings and exhausted evenings that feel like you're on repeat every day. I feel like it was Groundhog Day for many years there. It limits the choices that we get for our children. So when you're working a job, you can't homeschool. So I'm so grateful that I've chosen not to just resign, but to fully quit. So my daughter can have this year to regulate and homeschool. And if she chooses to go to trial mainstream next year, we have choices. So because we've got this online business. And yeah, the lifestyle choices. So I wanted to do a lot more traveling, and I found because we were in such a rut for so long, we weren't traveling. And since starting this business, we've been to Japan, we've been on a few cruises, and continue to want to do that with my daughter. And I'm here to create a true legacy for her. And I know both Joe and Alana are also here to do that. And everyone that chooses this business will speak more about the generational impact that you get to have in a moment. So thanks, Joe. We'll go on to the next slide. So yeah, just touching on the difference between linear and leveraged income. You can screenshot this also if you want to explore what this means. But basically, a linear income is the traditional job that most people are working, and it's where you're exchanging your time and your energy and your health for the sake of the income that you are using to support your family. And really, I guess since learning about leveraged income, I realize it doesn't really support your family. It actually takes away from your family. So whilst the income's there, it's actually taking away so much more: your presence, your health. And so many people are still working within that. So the leveraged income is, it kind of has a compound effect, much like the work that you do accumulates over time and it compounds, and then you you have recurring profits from that. And you also, like Joe also mentioned, you get a lot of support, and there's a whole community and mentors that support you throughout this, as you're navigating it. And so, yeah, ask yourself right now, and screenshot this if you'd like. But are you currently working a linear or a leveraged income? And yeah, research what that means and how different it can feel when you have a leveraged income. I know we all notice the difference for ourselves and our family picking the leveraged income. Thanks, Joe. We'll jump into the next slide. So I'm going to share an income disclaimer here. I'm going to go into the numbers in a moment and the possibilities of what's available to us for our income. And so it's important to put a disclaimer here that there's no earning projections and promises or representations. This is just what's possible. So you have to put in the time, the energy, and the effort. And there's so much support and programs that we can follow along that allow you to move towards the result you desire. But it's, yeah, I just need to share the income disclaimer here as I step into the numbers. So there's a number of different ways we can get started, and there's more videos that we can show you that we're not sharing in this presentation today that give you more details. So when you move into the next steps, you can ask for those. We'll share those videos. But there's I'm going to show you this slide and the next slide. There's a single or a quad, or there's also a trifecta that I haven't included in here. That's the three products that Alana will speak to more about those things a bit in a moment, and the fast track. So based on the way that you choose to start, the minimum that you would receive in anyone's income opportunity is $400, and as you can see here, you kind of grow. I won't bore you with all the logistics of this now, and there's more information we can share with you. But as you move through the business, thanks to the compounding effect I spoke to, being a linear, a leveraged income model, each time you move up and through, the compound effect grows your income as well. So you can choose, whether you start. I personally came in with a quad, because when you choose a quad, the fast track that I'll show you next wasn't available at the time when I came in. But the quad actually just not only supported my family at the maximum amount at the time, the fast track would actually do that even more now, because there's new products that have been introduced since I started. But the quad gave me the most effective way of supporting my family's health, and actually, I'll continue. I'm happy to share more information about the health support that it's given my family if you want to reach out. But it financially, it was the best place for me to start. Coming in with a quad, and Alana will speak more about that in a moment. But we'll skip to the next slide, Joe, and I'll just share the fast track. So basically, Alana will share all about the different options, but the income options here, the amount that you will get back into your own account. So, anywhere from about 918, and the maximum on the highest fast track with the double K8 is when you're at the highest rank, you're at 7,000 in just one sale. So yeah, I just wanted to show the numbers because I know that was one part that really excited me, because all I ever knew was a set income annually and fortnightly. And this really excited me because I can see the potential of how I can earn way beyond what I earn annually in my teaching salary. Thanks, Joe. We'll jump into the next one. So this one is also a lot of numbers, so I'm not going to speak a lot to this, but as I said, there's more information we can share. But basically, the exciting part about this particular model, it's a patented income model, and there is an opportunity when you continue to grow and have the compounding effect that you reach a kind of a passive space of income where you can will that to your children. And I know in Australian dollars, I think it converts approximately to about 7,500. So, my goal, this was one of the most significant things that I saw when I watched the presentation when I came in, because I wanted to work out how to support my daughter financially to live free and autonomously without the pressure of having to go and have a job, but she can still contribute to society and create a global impact in her own way because she will have this financial support behind her. And so I just wanted to share that, yeah, there's so many parts to this, but it's just the part circled up the top, the monthly income for life, and then it's willable to our children, our grandchildren, and beyond. And it just continues to go, and it continues to grow too, which is really exciting. So thanks, Joe. We'll jump into the next slide. So I just want to finally kind of close off with a few things that have changed for me personally and my family since starting this business. So it expanded my mindset and elevated my consciousness. So I'm quite a spiritual person, and I know I'm here for the new earth shift. And so I'm really here supporting my daughter and I and other families out there to really elevate our consciousness and support the collective. And this business model allows me to make an impact through that as well. It's given me new energy and belief in myself. So there's this photo of me here. I had a dream since childhood to become an author. And just after a few months after starting this business, my dreams were reignited because I came out of this kind of like struggle and pain that I was sitting in the mainstream traditional workplace. And I got asked to co-author this book, and I'm currently working on having my own first book published this year. But yeah, reigniting our dreams beyond survival mode, because I think for neurodiverse families, often we're just functioning in survival mode, trying to get through each day in survival. It's really hard. And as I spoke to you before, I pulled my daughter out of before and after school care. I reduced my work hours down to 3 days a week. I took my daughter to Japan for an incredible legacy event thanks to this incredible business. And I got to sit in an arena with my daughter next to me, with 8,000 global change makers and impact makers. And I cried the whole time because it was just so deeply moving to be part of such an incredible community and to be out of that space of, yeah, just functioning through each day. And I'm building towards legacy so my daughter can live a soul sovereign life like myself. And yeah, not having to continue to sacrifice our time, our health, and our energy, and not continue to be in environments that feel overstimulating and stressful. And yeah, just love being part of such an amazing community. And yeah, there's a few other things there, but I know I'm conscious of time, so I will skip in to the final slide, I think is my last one. Yeah, so these are just a few of the things that I've got to experience and enjoy. I won't speak to them, but yeah, just the one in the is the 30 acre, the one down the bottom is the me living in this new season of life and 30 acres off grid homeschooling my daughter. And I just feel like so much more relaxed and over the years, it's got to just increase and it's had a compound effect on me, getting to have more freedom. And now I feel really, really expanded, joyful, and nourished. And I'm, I'm so honored to be here with Joe and Alana today to share this with you because I really hope each of you get to choose how you can live differently beyond the struggles and the stress and survival mode. So thanks. I think that's the final part of mine, and I'm going to pass it over to Alana now to share a bit of her story.
Hey, that was so beautiful. I love hearing each other share our stories in more depth. It's so beautiful. And it's so funny because before this business existed, we didn't even know each other, and then we come together and we get to meet each other and hear how life-changing this can be. And so this is my opportunity to share my story. And I have to admit, it was very life-changing, cliche, but it was one of those pivotal moments in my life that have shaped the rest of my life. And for me, I've probably been the longest in this space. I've been here for 8 years. I met the community over 8 years ago. Um, but I met it through witnessing a friend in the online world switch gears. So I've been in the online space for over 10 years. I had some hit and misses. I'm sure there are some people, mamas on here that have tried all sorts of things because we are, as mums, we're one of those resourceful type humans that get out there and really want to make a difference for our children, especially having, NeuroSparkly energy myself and then also my daughter. So for me, I'll give a backstory. I was in the personal training industry for many years. I've actually run only businesses or entrepreneurial pursuits. I also found ways to get paid for what I loved. It was something that I knew right out of school when I got expelled that I didn't fit into the norm. And so for me, lucky enough, I found ways to be able to travel the world and do lots of cool things, whilst also making an income along the way. Did I get it perfect every time? No. Did I end up in places where I shouldn't ever have been? Yes. And that's kind of where I found this business is that I was, after a couple of years in the online space, I found myself, dabbling in low ticket items. I was in nutritional subs. So I went from personal training to nutritional subs. And from there, I was still just not making enough for me and my daughter to survive. So I ended up in a bar working only on the only days that I had off, and it wasn't like the normal bar. It was a very naughty bar, and that for me was the only option I had. Really, I was like, well, what else have I got? I've got one day that I can make money, and I need to figure it out. So I found myself in an environment I wasn't aligned with. I hadn't healed any of my relationships. I just had fallen off the wagon of my wellness journey. And I had that legacy moment with myself in the car on the way home from driving home, like with a little bit of intoxication, just thinking, wow, if I go out right now, this is it. Like, no, my daughter has no clue who I am actually at the core. I'm not being that person. And my mother would have because I hadn't healed that relation would have reflected something negative at that time. My daughter's dad, I hadn't healed that relationship. I was now a single mom. And I was like, I can't go out like this. This is not it. And in that time, I had been working on my inner world. I'd been part of retreats. I've been part of um, personal development, and I'd also been a personal trainer for many years. So I knew the tools that I needed to do, but it was about doing it. And who can relate to me on this call? Like, you know what to do, but you're not doing it. And that was my moment of reflection where I was like, okay, enough's enough. And I literally quit that day. Like for me, it was like an all-in moment. And I needed it to be an all-in moment because that was the safety and that was the rug. And I was totally out of alignment. And once I knew I was out of alignment, like you can't unknow that and do the same thing that's out of alignment. Otherwise, you're just building yourself for failure, really. You're just gonna get the feather, the brick, and then the bus. So, lucky for me, I was like, all right, enough's enough. Time to look for a new business model that's actually going to work here. And I saw a masterclass like this. I sat down with my housemate at the time. He was a police officer, and we both watched it from completely different backgrounds, different lenses, but saw the same thing. We were like, wow, this is insane. I cannot believe that this doesn't that we haven't seen it up until this moment. Like why aren't people leveraging something this is so cool? Like what? So we both actually looked at it and decided to invest in that moment. But I had absolutely no starting. I didn't have any starting point. I had no money. I was living, in a share house. And, I had to get resourceful, and that's all part of the journey. And I got resourceful enough to be able to turn that into a six-figure income in my first year. And it was absolutely life-changing for me. I was able to go from overwhelmed, burnt out, stressed out, crying all the time. Like anyone in the online space or that have tried things where you just find yourself working way more than if you were actually just in a job. And that was me. I was like hustling away, daughter crying, I'm crying. It was a nightmare. And so thank goodness to me, I didn't give up. And, I don't judge that old part of me, that old business of me, because I think it's all stepping stones and I think they all have purpose, right? Health supplementation, all for it, absolutely all for it. As for business, as for wellness, like that can come in, but for financial understanding, it's just not it doesn't work longevity wise, and because there's so much that needs to be placed through your business to be able to actually see five-figure months, and you've seen it now. Medea showed you like you can have one sale or two sales and you've got a five-figure month. Like that's the difference, and that's what really shifted for me, and I was able to really step into that. So for me and my daughter, we never have been diagnosed. We've just rolled around the world, just doing life as we do. We spend a lot of time in nature. We spend a lot of time with community. We spend a lot of time traveling. And we've just been able to also, thanks to the choices of the space, really now also shift the education system to something that actually works for Alia. And so that's been something super helpful. And just for me, as also someone that navigates the world in a different way, like being able to use my bursts and my manic states to really utilize my education in the wellness space, to really utilize my launches of retreats and things that I absolutely love doing is awesome. And then when I'm not in the vibe, like I can go and nourish myself, I can go and be in nature. So I haven't found it get, harmful to my system. It's actually very useful. It's very helpful. And having all these really beautiful, colorful people from across the globe thinking like you, looking, motivated like you, driven like you, wanting a different way in life and society has just also been the biggest game changer for me and was one of the pivotal moments in my journey for my whole reality to shift because before this, like it was a lot of trauma. It was a lot of dealing with a lot of trauma and then I found the community and everything just shifted and changed. I got support, I got nourished, I got encouragement, I got education. All the boxes were ticked. I got encouraged to be me. So from nutritional subs where you're like being the brand of the subs, like you become the subs, like really essentially, to actually then me learning how to actually be myself. So, and really bring that to the table. So now if I go out, like my daughter knows who I am. I tell you, she knows exactly who I am wholeheartedly. And so now I feel safe in the fact that if I was to not make it through another day of this beautiful life that we have, that I know that I have impacted and imprinted enough upon her and my community that there'll be stories shared, there'll be, reflections shared, that she will never forget me. She'll always have me, through the people that are in our community and also through the imprint that I've already placed upon her now. Um, so yeah, it's been a crazy journey because in that time, I also want to just quickly speak to that I have now helped thousands of families. Like I think there's over like 8,000 sales in my organization or something like that, where this has just rippled through communities and conscious parenting, mamas across the globe, unschooling mamas. And I get to hear of all these stories all the time where mums are doing incredible things. And I'll share more because it'll come into the health story. Can we go to the next slide just so I can see what's there? Cool. Yeah. And so again, this has rippled out to help like yoga teachers, entrepreneurial and older mothers that have teenage daughters to, yeah, mums that are still having multiple babies. And like I've had a mum in my community build her own off-grid land over in the States and really start to really embody those visions because they were able to make in a month what the partner at the time made in a year. Like it was crazy. Like these are crazy, beautiful stories that are happening very regularly, right? Um, from, old entrepreneurial women who have found themselves couch surfing because things have gone to crap. Like I work with a lot of facilitators and breathwork coaches and people in that entrepreneurial space to, thriving and traveling and having their dream home. One of my ladies has got this beautiful place in Paris, like, and all her content is like her dancing around Paris. It's amazing, and she come from living in her car, and then when and working out, going to in her car, going to festivals, selling jewelry, and now is this very elegant woman that is living in Paris in her dream life, right? So this is something that it does for us. It really nourishes our soul and our system to actually start to operate from what it is that we actually desire, not from the circumstances, not from, the life that have been imprinted on us before. Because if you're like me, maybe you've come from some harder challenges and some harder traumas. Like that was my first 20 years of my life. And it was wild. And so if someone like myself expelled challenges can find this so nourishing for me to be able to actually fully become who I am truly meant to be able to speak to you in this way, like to have this clarity. Like I was scared of humans. I still sometimes think I'm scared of humans just because that's like what rides underneath. But this has allowed me to really open up and be with new families and have these conversations. I literally have conversations every day because now all I attract into my world are women and families that want to speak about the health and wellness, that want to speak about how we can shift and change in a positive direction. They look at their negative self-beliefs or they look at the limitations and they like, look, we recognize them, they're there, but we aren't going to let them take over. And we have these really powerful, deep conversations. So it's really become so, yeah, just so juicy in the way that we get to express ourselves. So it's so adaptable to, all of your life. It's adaptable to your feminine cycles. It's adaptable to your children. It's adaptable to, you can get around like really business entrepreneurial people and be in the millionaire, like multimillionaire sector, and you're just in there and you're immersed in that. And the next day be at your family. Like it's such a beautiful space to be in. So moving to the next slide. But more importantly, I really wanted to do this correctly because it's so important to me that you guys get this information on a cellular level, like on an understanding of health and wellness, because it's all beautiful to have community and to have business and structures, but there's something that is super important to me for families to understand. And my mama bear, like crazy girl, kicks in because when I found out like that I didn't know this. And then some of the things that have come out, I'm going to talk about different technologies here, but there are some technologies that have just come out as well. And there are some studies that are being hidden from us, but who knows that we're probably being hidden from a lot of good things so that, this industry of big pharma can continue. But what we want to look at here is how can we start to implement wellness into our system so that we can actually make more informed choices. But also, there's one thing that, like, absolutely doesn't matter if you have all the vitamins and the minerals and eat all the good foods and do all the right things. If you don't have this one thing, you're not optimizing all of that. And so for me, when what really is super important, and when it comes to NeuroSparkly especially, is this neuroinflammatory response. So what we're finding is most people, and I would say like 99%, like it is a crazy number how many people are actually dehydrated. And that's just on cellular level and also brain level. When we look into neuroinflammatory, this is something that we see with a lot of neurosparkly people, is that there's a neuroinflammatory response. So there's things going on in the brain that are harder for us to process. So if we don't have that hydration to be able to like make it more malleable, make it more, squishy, if you think about the brain and it's like nice and hydrated, it can do more, it can think more, it can approach situations. I call it resourcing. Like when you're under resourced, you're going to flip easier. And so what this that I want to speak about around neuroinflammatory is this is something that is specific for neurosparkly people, but also it is something that like even mums on the run, mums like, those even pregnant women, when brain farts happen all the time, this is something where you start to notice your dehydration. And so, what we are going to share with you is the technologies. And I was introduced actually to this technology before I took it on as a business. I was, as I mentioned, in the personal training industry. I worked in a gym with the SES, and I also worked in a gym with professional athletes. And they had this machine in there, and I was like, what is this machine? And people would line up to come and get this water technology and fill their gallons of water. And I just remember this was 15 years ago. And I just remember in that my ear, like remembering what they were saying. So I remember the professional boxer being like, I can drink this when I go into a fight. And so I didn't quite understand why at that stage, why all these elite athletes were on it, while there was so much hype and like everyone was lining up for it. But as I started to develop my understanding around health and wellness, so I always knew about food. Food was like always something that was delivered to me first. And then water came into the talk. But I feel water should be number one now, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But fast forward, when I was pregnant, it was a non-negotiable for me to have the best water. I kind of just knew it at that stage. My consciousness was at a level like, yep, I'll just take the best. Thank you. I'll find a way. And I just put on a payment plan. And I had the best water in my home. And I didn't realize till later on that there was also this incredible business model that is behind it as well. And what shifted and changed for me is like I used to have a lot of burnout and a lot of being healthy. I would do like juice detoxes and then I'd burn out. And so what was happening is I was highly dehydrated and I was also just burnt out from being extreme. And what the water did was able to put me back into nourishment, and it allowed me to absorb my all my supplementations as well. So when I was supplementing after birth, I was actually at my peak after birth. I was just vibing, man. I was having the best water, I was having the best vitamins, like I was looking after my health and wellness. But the missing piece for me again was that the wealth piece. But we've tackled that. You're going to go into that deeper, and I really encourage you to start looking at all pillars of your life, like the health, relationships, wealth being like they're all very important pillars. Like you want to have a nourished full wheel of all the pies, right? And you can't just have some and not have some of the others. It just life it just becomes a kinky hose. So yeah, so I had this product. It changed my family's dynamic in regards to that I was nourished and I was healthy and I was able to heal from being pregnant and all the other things along the way. Until I really dove deeper into it and I started to understand why it works. And the thing is that most water that you'll see, most water technologies that most water that you absorb, like tap water or bottled water isn't actually allowing it to go through the cells because if you think of it, it's quite dense in weight. Even rainwater, I really find it so challenging when people go, but I drink rainwater, and I'm like, oh, it's the most heaviest water of them all. There's no absorption rate in rainwater. And let's be really honest, our skies are poisoned. But the molecular structure, so this is getting into the nitty-gritty science, and I really want you to understand this because this is the piece that's going to shift it and change it outside of all the other things that this does, but it's the weight of it is too dense to actually absorb into your body. So our one glass of what we're talking about is called Kangen water, is like to having 7 glasses of any of those other water. So you can see how quickly you can hydrate from one glass. And the reason being is the molecular structure is so minute because it is ionized to a point where it is split molecule into the most minute molecular structure that it crosses the blood-brain barrier in seconds. So it is going straight through to the brain. And now that we've talked about neuroinflammatory being a response for NeuroSparkly, like that is the most crucial and important thing. If your brain is sitting there and not getting nourished as number one, like it is, you're going to find all the other things that you tackle in the world harder. And I have a beautiful story of one of my girlfriends who is in the States in my business, and she was able to, she's obviously right in the health and wellness scene, even more so than me, like gets on panels with doctors. And she was part of the autism summit over there. And there's this one testimony of this lady who has an autistic son, and she had tried everything and uh, her friend, Louise, who was my girlfriend, shared with her the water. She's like, you've just got to get on this water. And she did get on the water. Within 6 weeks, this child started to make verbal contact and eye contact, which was something that wasn't heard of. And I've got this somewhere in my phone, honest. So if you ever want to catch that, it make you cry. But this beautiful woman was not marketing the technology at all. She was sharing her authentic testimonial at this autism summit. So at the autism summit, with like the likes of Peter McCulloch, Dr. Peter McCulloch, like they had Kangen water on every table there. And it is a huge topic to start to understand that not all water is the same. And why is our water working the best? And that's one of the biggest topics is because of this molecular structure. Not to mention we're eliminating harmful toxins and things, and we're also bringing this water back to life, bringing this water to an alkalized state, which is an anti-inflammatory response. So then it can go into the body and actually heal any other inflammation that is also happening in the body. So there's my rant on wellness. And if you don't have hydration, by the way, you can't uptake your food, your minerals, all of the other things. So water is number one. We know that without water we die. Like it's like number one survival. You can eat, but if you have no water, you're fucked. Sorry. It's already there. It's very obvious that water is number one for everything else in life. So and you will notice the difference in yourself. I mean, we become water snobs after that, after we start drinking. It's like liquid gold, really, essentially. So yeah, moving into the other slide so I can run into the other technologies that's here is the reason that we partner with her is because obviously it's an incredible technology and everyone needs water, like more and more so now, people are waking up to that, if they buy bottled water, they got microplastics. If they're drinking normal tap water, like they're not doing it because it's got all sorts of stuff from feces to hardcore chemicals and also rust and metals and stuff like that. And I am still surprised if someone's drinking tap water. It just mind boggles me. I'm like, are you really seriously like? I don't know how they give it to kids either. But the other technology that I really wanted to just bring awareness to, and you'll get to go into a next piece, which will go really deep into the product so you can really understand them better, but also for your children and for your family and for your home. But as a mama bear, um, I wouldn't be, yeah, if I didn't mention this one, I'd feel really guilty about it because when I found out about this, I was like, I'm going to go door knocking. Like, I need to tell all the mums in my town, is the EMF exposure and what's happening with that. So, right now, there's more and more studies coming out about it, but we do know across the board that it creates even more cellular dehydration, and it also means it clumps the blood, so it doesn't allow the flow of blood to be oxygenated in the body. Now, I'm a mum of a child who absolutely loves her iPad, and you know, I'm a mum, and you know, we're not perfect. I mean, even me, I'm on a technology right now, so there are times for it. And the fact of the matter is, within half an hour, when you're exposed to it, it's starting these processes right in the body. And so, even one of the doctors, what he does at his dentistry is he'll have a glass of Kangen water before they have X-rays, because then you're exposed, right? And then a glass of Kangen water after, so that we are finding that the hydration and the ionization is offsetting these these I guess issues that we're facing now with EMF. And so if we looked around the home, there's probably like quite a few tablets and phones and things going off at the moment, and we haven't had that for long enough for there to be the negative studies of like how that's impacting our bodies. But there's enough information now to know that at the very least it's dehydrating our bodies. So there is a technology that was created out of Japan, the same as our water technology, which is a harmonizer for your environment. So it just eases the effects of what's happening. But ultimately, number one will always be that you're hydrating, being very mindful of drinking your hydrogen water and getting that optimal healing response active every glass, like healing every glass. It's amazing. So there are some other products that are in there. There's obviously shower technology. It's like a spa technology. It's amazing. We have one in every one of our showers here. You fill up your bath. If you can really feel the difference in the bath. You can feel the difference in a shower, but you can feel the difference when you're soaking in the magnesium and really seeing how it's shifted the from the chlorine like that stinks to a really nice nourishing bath. And our skin is our biggest organ, so it is something to really be mindful of, especially with children, especially birthing children, in birthing pools and things like that. Like these are some of the things I'm just gonna like seed for you to start to think about, because we haven't been told about it, and then we're doing these things unintentionally that are actually creating more drama and more ailments in our wellness and in our nervous system, because once we're under resourced in a physical sense, in a chemical sense, that's also going to set us off in a neuro sense as well. Turmeric is one of the highest anti-inflammatory supplementations that you can have. So when you've got it organic, farmed, or ethically, all encapsulated in Kangen water capsules, like you're just going to get the best of the best in there as well. And then we have a new one that says the air product as well, which I've got rolling around, cleans out the air. Yeah, another little fancy thing. But yeah, this partnered with the generational wealth, like that's where it shifted for me, because I was already in the health and wellness business. I already had, this technology in my home. Why did I choose to really put my focus over this way was that generational wealth piece. What I found in the other online models or in my supplementation model is that it's low ticket. And so there's lots of reordering that needs to happen, and that, yeah, and I just saw the fluctuation of it. I actually never really earned over five figures in that. And I did get quite a fair amount of wins on the board regarding like holidays and paid trips. But when it was wins in my bank account, it wasn't there. And so once I realized this structure of stepping stone building wealth, like functional building wealth, that you only go to more income, you only make more, like it becomes, oh, okay, cool. I can focus forward. Like I can look at this 500-year vision that this this Japanese man has created for us and go, okay, cool. Well, I can look forward to the next 50 years that I'm here and map that out. And then knowing that that generational piece of whatever I've created in that time gets to go to my daughter, so then she can map out her next 50 years, right? With this company that's 500-year plan, we're 50 years in, 52 years this year. And it's those building blocks that make it not have to be like this rush or stress every month or reset every month. It's like, no, I'm building foundations. I'm building solid change. And it allows you to have those moments in business if you feel you need to move away and then come back, because whatever life circumstances, you're never going backwards. You can't go backwards. It's just not possible. So you just always taking another step forward. And that for me is like, it's safe. That's safe. So and yeah, and by doing that, I'm almost at that legacy generational wealth that you've seen on the board. Like, how epic is that? Like, a traumatized mum who said yes has changed her life over the time. And also all the other women that I started this business with, around the same time, they're all the same. Right? They've all taken the stepping stones along the way, had all the things that come up in those journeys, and still they're all knocking on generational wealth door. Or if not, they've already hit it. So it's just epic to see. I'll have a look at what's next. Cool. Yeah, so here's just take a screenshot of this because this also, again, goes into the depth of the lineage that we have been gifted. So the lineage is from a man named Mr. Oshira. I believe he is some like he must have had plant medicine. No, he's just a visionary, well beyond my years, that's for sure, in how much I can vision forward. Like I can see a lot of change forward, but he's seen global change and he's actually already created it. He's actually having his 83rd birthday today, funny enough, fun fact. And he looks like he's 60. He's healthy, he's happy. He just believes that if you change your water, you change your life. And he comes from, he came from nothing. He built something that he wanted to impact everyone. He has schools that he funds. He's got all these incredible charities, always about generation. He brings his family onto the stages when he speaks. He really just wants to see a big shift in the world, in society. It was lucky for him. He had an engineering background in Sony, so he understood high grade technologies, and so that's why he has created such a reputable company, like the Ferrari of the water industry. And he's just, yeah, and he keeps impressing me over and over again when we see a gap in the market or we see a new wellness trend that is actually like super supportive for people to start having access to. Like they just created in America a beautiful um, wellness brand around foods and like the way that they feed their animals, and really getting those out there to the families as well, is like clean, like real next level clean food. And they're doing that through, again, sharing the water technologies and just all the different, it's just mind-boggling when you go down it. But he is just really a big advocate for the things that I would call that we haven't spoken about in society because they've kept it away from us. So then but he's like, no, I know he's smart. He's a very smart man. And so that lineage is where it comes from. I'm a big advocate for Japan. I've lived in Japan. I've traveled Japan many times. I love the Japanese culture. They're really big on their happiness. It's one of the biggest things. So, all right, switching. Cool. So to be a part of this movement, yeah, the next step. So who's like gained some knowledge on this call? I'd love to see it in the chat if you want to put something in there for me. Um, yeah, someone's new about learning about water. I know, like, why do we focus so much on these other areas when water's number one? Anyway, I want to just say that this community is like no other, and this next process was the process that changed it all for me. And so being a part of this will mean that you are being a part of something that is going to shift and change for generations, but not only yourself, your home, your children, but it just absolutely starts to shift your neighborhood, the way you show up, the vibration, who you are. I mean, these other ladies can share it. Like, that's some of the biggest things that change in this movement is just who you become, how you become. This new version of you, so nourished and excited and ready, like with flexibility. So moving to the next one. Cool. All right, still not Annie. I've gone through all of that, so we can go to the next one. Thank you. I'm fast forwarding. Again, this is me and my daughter out in Japan together. Look how cute she is in a little kimono. We have traveled. Alia went to 6 countries before she was 4. And now she has, yeah, traveled a lot. And one of my greatest joys is the community children, like who she meets is the children. And because we've got such a freedom of what Medea was speaking about, like of self-expression as well. Um, that's what I love about meeting, like the kids coming together fully expressed as well as the adults, the big kids. And yeah, just so much more joy. I am absolutely a new person since saying yes to this space. Like if you knew me before it, I was very traumatized. I was attached to my stories. I was attached to my depression and this has really shifted the game. Like I'm absolutely a new person. And just I get to choose each day what it is that I desire to do. And I can add more, I can subtract more, whatever it is. I love the kids getting in the camera. So moving to the next slide, I want to move on to that invitation for you guys because thanks for I want to honor your time. We've got, a couple of more minutes here to be on this call together. And I just really wanted to talk about this next process because for me, it was the pivotal moment. And it is a moment for you to really get real. It's a moment for you to go, okay, where am I right now? And what am I ready to have? Like, what is it that I'm desiring more of? And being unapologetic in that, being totally okay with, you know what, I really want. Like, I was like, I really want 5-figure months. That was what I needed for me. Like, it's such a, like, I look at it back now, I'm like, could you have made it more meaningful? But that for me was meaningful because if I did that, then I felt like I achieved something. And it wasn't for my daughter at that stage, to be honest. It was actually really for me and what I could achieve at that moment. It became about her over time. It became about the impact I could give to others. It came about the freedom. It became all these other things that, it became about the impact on wellness and teaching people around that. But at the very start for me, like if I got honest, like that was all that I could reach for. That was where I was at. So it's like reach for something outside of what you're at now because that's how things shift and change. And it's okay to desire and want more. And it's perfectly amazing to desire and want more. And so in this next step, what we're going to, what gets uncovered is we'll just keep going to the next one. What we've uncovered in the next step is a process to really give you more information, but also to ask you what it is that you desire. So and it's only half an hour to an hour. Is it like probably let's say an hour for anyone that's on this call. Like if you can give it that energy of like ceremonial energy, like this is a transformational process, this can really support me. It's going to ask you powerful questions. It's going to show you, you can show the next slide. It's going to show you the technologies and what's available in them. It's going to show you what commissions you can make, but it's going to show you that through the lens of what it is that you desire. So I can say, yeah, cool, you're going to make $600 immediately. But you may like be like, I only want, $1,000, or you might wait, no, I want 10, I want 20. You may get super clear on what it is that you desire, and then you'll be able to have that mapped out. So 5 sales in this quad, what we're showing you right now, was the way that I got myself to my first 10K month. Okay. And you can see here it's up $15,000 in commissions. So this next piece, like this is all going to be relevant for you. These are our beautiful quad packages. And you may be someone like myself that wants to go out and actually create life-changing income and very quickly. Then you're going to get into action. You're going to get really clear on what it is that you want And that was the only piece that I needed to really carry me through to that season, was that even though my circumstances, the noise, everything else existed, yes, my child running around like crazy existed, that all still existed. I still lived in a shared house. And I still had a lot of trauma, but I had a vision and I plugged into the system. And the next bit is the system. I plugged into the system. When I asked the question, I got answered it. When I when I took those stepping stones, because it's designed to support you, it's designed to ask you the right questions. It's designed to take you through to what it is that you desire. So for me, I was able to make what I desired based on this next piece of getting really clear on what it is I desired, and then having a business, an organization that was set up for me to succeed, was set up for me to have high commissions. That meant that no matter what it is that I asked for, it was always available. Like 6 quads to make an extra 50K on top of that 15. Like this is this building blocks that we talk about. That's achievable. If anyone's in sales or done any sort of sales or any sort of like sharing, like even at sharing your favorite brand of something, like you've shared it with more than 5 girlfriends. Like, come on. And we're not asking you to share it with 5 girlfriends. We're going to give you a whole new strategy in there as well, where you can actually learn how to really attract and do it from your feminine, and also build out whatever strategies you feel comfortable with. Like there's ads, there's so many ways to go around this. But let's move into the next strategy. I don't want to keep going around. This is the discovery process. This is the next walkthrough. Now, this process is, can you go to the next slide? Cool. I just wanted to share that this process is usually $99 a month to do, or for the month to do. And right now you can save 50% on that process. Actually, I think we did something special, didn't we, for this call? Oh, we did something really special. All right. Scrap that. Scrap that. We're actually done something super special. So we are actually going to make it free for you for the next 48 hours. And we're going to give you that free bonus thing. So one thing that I really wanted to emphasize on is that how you approach one thing is how you approach all things. So if you can approach this with this new insight, this new way of being, that this new hunger, this new thirst, this new desire, this new understanding, and really treat it with that respect, like you will see that ripple out in so many other areas of your life. We're going to give you an incredible free new resource that's going to mirror the stepping stones in the next piece, where you'll get to actually go through a process, discover deeper your own desires, but then also discover deeper this model and how it works for your desires. And you'll get to talk to, either you'll get referred to one of us for a call, or you'll actually be on a call with one of our team who will actually jump on a call and actually have a conversation with you to answer any left unanswered questions. Um, they're there to support you to really make this process easy. And then they also have been resourced. We've resourced them with ways to get you started. So no matter where you're at when you start, whenever you may have a job, you may not, you may, wherever it is, they're there to help resource you with how you can get started, no matter where you're at. Okay, for me, I had to find a solution, and for other mamas, we have solutions. So it's just you'll get through that piece, you'll figure it out. So moving on to the next piece, I just wanted to share these are the 2 books that we're giving you in the next 48 hours for taking action. Pick one, I would say, and do it properly, just like the discovery process. Give it your presence. The Magic is a book that I've done with my daughter. She was manifesting some crazy things on day 4. She was also getting free things. It's awesome. It's a book that some of my first mamas, I remember mine and hers, We both manifest an extra $7,000 each. Like we were both like, how did this happen? We don't know. We're not going to ask questions. And we just kept going. So that is an incredible step-by-step daily tool. And You Are Badass at Making Money is by far one of the best mindset books when it comes to wealth. So if you have come out of a job or you've got any limiting beliefs around wealth and how you can make it, if you feel like you're one of those people that think you have to trade time for money, then this book's going to be great for you to move from, an employee mindset, a limited mindset that society's placed upon you, to being an entrepreneur and being actually open to what's possible for you. So yes, free. It's free, guys. So reach out to the person who sent you this masterclass today. Drop in the comments if that person's here and you're ready to get started. Oh, that's epic. Um, and we will send you the link for this. It's super easy. Just fill your details out, start the process, get on a call. It's a yes or it's a no, and that's the basis for the next steps. If it's a yes, you're fully supported in the next process after that, where we're actually going to give you a whole nother course for free on how to launch your business. So pretty exciting, guys. Do you guys have anything you want to add before we clock off for the day? We made it in under an hour. Woo!
That was amazing. Well done, everyone. Yeah, just really excited. Love hearing the stories, as you said, Alana. Just thank you so much for your time today. It's just been wonderful to have you here. Really putting yourself first and your families first. And yeah, would love to see you on the inside.
Yeah, I can't wait. Mwah.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
See you, bye.
Bye.